back into the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Chasing the Paper. Yeah, baby. Insider.com, so here to face some music. Coming off of the reverse cowgirl yesterday, 0-3. My picks, first time in a while, I get the old reverse sweep. It's the way she goes, though. You know, tough loss in overtime by the Stars. The collapse by the Orlando Magic. But it is what it is. We live to bet another day. We live to bounce back as well. So we will look to do that today. A little bit of housekeeping here off the top, guys. This is our last show for a little bit of a winter break, a winter vacation. So we will be back on Tuesday, February 28th. A bit of a 2-week break. Good time to do it. The NBA going on a little bit of a break as well. But make sure you do keep it locked here on the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video, by the way. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. By the way, we're still going to have a lot of great content from Kevin Rogers, who will be covering the NHL and college basketball. Well, Chasing That Paper is on a bit of a hiatus. So speaking of Kevin Rogers, let's bring him in. Down there in South Florida. How we doing, Kevin? You shovel any snow there in Florida lately or what? I was shoveling my driveway out all day yesterday.
No, thankfully. That's why I live here, because I don't want to deal with that shit.
When's the last time you shoveled? Have you ever shoveled snow in your life?
Yes, I have. When I lived in Kansas City 20 years ago, I worked in radio out there. Kansas City in the summers is nice. In the winter, I can't deal with it. I'm not living like this. I'm not living this horrible weather, especially when I worked on a morning show and it was like 4 a.m. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't want this. I'll take hurricanes over that.
You ever come across any alligators or crocodiles down there?
No. I don't live by, no, I'm not by like the alligators.
Is that a thing that happen? Will that happen occasionally? There'll just be an alligator on the loose down there?
No, I mean, you see iguanas walking around like these big-ass iguanas. That's kind of cool. But other than that, no, I don't have alligators knocking on my door. I don't do that.
Okay, yeah, I hear that from time to time.
We have frogs jumping around. That's the extent of it. That gets a little bit interesting.
Yeah, I'll take shoveling over alligators. Okay, yeah. Kevin, that's enough small talk. We got a lot to get into here today. NBA, college hoops, and NHL. Going to go back and forth. Then discuss some NBA features and quarterback movements in the NFL in the second half of the show. So let's get right into the action. We're going to start things off in the NBA in beautiful Brooklyn, where the Miami Heat are in town. Let's take a trip to Prop City, my favorite prop of the night. Let's go Jimmy Butler over 22.5 points in this one. And this pick is dedicated to our in-house Miami Heat fan producer, Tito. Tito is getting consider this pick as your wedding gift. Take all the money that you have saved for your feature and put it on over here. Shot attempt for Jimmy Butler way up this month, averaging 16.3 shots per game. That's up from 13.9 in January. Expect to see him on the free throw line a lot tonight. 10th in free throw attempts on the season in all of the NBA. Some dirty defense by Brooklyn here. The Nets are allowing the third most free throw attempts over the last 10 games. He had 9 against them last month in a game, which paved the way to a 26-point game for him. And this is hit in 6 of his last 9 games. He's filling it up here lately. No Tyler Hero in the lineup could lead to some extra attempts. Give me Jimmy Butler over 22.5 points. Okay, moving over to college hoops. What are we looking at, Kevin?
Joe, we're going to start in the SEC, Alabama and Tennessee. Normally a good football game, but also a pretty good basketball game tonight in Knoxville. Alabama now the number 1 team in the country. Tennessee has stubbed their toe a few times recently, but we're going to lay the points with the Tennessee Volunteers at home. Go with Rocky Top here. And Tennessee, they've had some bad luck of late. They lost the buzzer to Vanderbilt. They lost to the buzzer to Missouri on a couple ridiculous shots. And Tennessee will look to bounce back tonight. Alabama's off a win over their in-state rival Auburn. And Alabama, look, they've been a good underdog this year. 2-1 straight up against the spread. They're not normally a dog because they're one of the best teams in the country. But also with Tennessee of late, they were laying 12 to Missouri. They were laying 10 to Vanderbilt, lost both those games. They barely beat Auburn, laying 9.5. They lost to Florida outright, laying 4.5. But here, a much more manageable number. That's why I say good value in the Volunteers here. And yes, the number 1 team in the country is an underdog. But I think Tennessee rebounds here. They're 19-6 in spite of 2 buzzer-beating losses the last 2 games. They somehow win those. They're instead 21-4, and they're right there by Alabama. So I'm going to take Tennessee here, laying the points with them at home against Alabama.
All right back into the NBA. We have the Utah Jazz and Memphis taking on the Grizzlies. We got my favorite underdog of the night. Let's take a shot on those Utah Jazz coming in at +8.5 points. So we're starting to see some serious cracks here with the Memphis Grizzlies. Just 3-9 straight up in their last 12 games, including a few losses at home where they're generally much better. They're having a lot of trouble closing out games. Some rough fourth quarters have them ranked 29th and fourth quarter point margin over the last 10 games. Utah sitting there at a very respectable second in that span. Utah's been great against them this season. They have a 5-point loss in their most recent matchup. However, 2 outright wins versus the Grizzlies back in October. And you dig into the stats, you dig into the numbers, and Utah is close or better in many key stats. Last 10 games, they rank higher in EFG percentage, free throw attempt rate, offensive rebound percentage, opponent EFG percentage. They're shooting the 3 better, getting to the line more, and turning it over less. Give me the Utah Jazz +8.5 tonight. Beautiful. Memphis, Tennessee. All right, Kevin, back to college hoops. What are we looking at next?
Second game, Joe, American Athletic Conference, and I'm wearing my green and gold for Tito's USF Bulls. Jesus. I'm going to take USF tonight against Tulsa. And these are the 2 bottom feeders of the American Athletic Conference. And USF is laying points on the road. See? Put those the 2 fingers up for the Bulls. Now, number 1, Tulsa is one of the worst, if not the worst, ATS team in the country. 3 covers. 3 covers in 25 games. That is god-awful. USF's actually been a good team away from Tampa. They still call it the Sundome, Tito, or it's called the whatever the name of the arena is there. But 9-1 against the spread. Granted, a lot of those as an underdog, but still, USF has done a good job on the road this year. For Tulsa, Yingling Dome. Excuse me. Sorry about that. 6 straight losses by double digits for this Tulsa team, and I understand that a lot of them came against better teams in the AAC, and USF is right above Tulsa at the bottom. But still, opponent, EFG, look at that. I mean, Tulsa's, there's 350 teams, and they're 293rd. So I just think USF in this game, I think they take care of business here. I really do. I mean, that's pretty much the analysis for it, that Tulsa is god-awful, and I'm not going to back them. If Tulsa was getting 10, 12, I'd be like, oh, maybe they're worth a look. They were getting 28 against Houston and lost by like 40-something. So I'm going to take USF here, lay the points of them on the road, Joe. So that's my analysis for this game.
All right. My final pick of the show. Let's wrap things up on the ice in the NHL. Up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I guess it's pretty cold up in Edmonton today. We got the Detroit Red Wings in town. Total of 6.5 for this one. I like the under. Coming in at plus money, +105. So some fantastic defensive hockey from each of these teams. Last 10 games, first and second in expected goals allowed. The Oil really standing out at second in high danger chances allowed. Wings at 8th in shots allowed, and the 8th fewest penalty minutes in that span as well. They're playing some very disciplined hockey. Take a look at the Detroit offense, though. Complete contrast. Just struggling to create chances here. Last 10 games, they're 28th in expected goals for, 29th in high danger chances for, 26th in shots on net. And nice stretch in net for Ville Husso, the pride of Helsinki, Finland. Expected to get the start here for Detroit. 2 or fewer goals allowed in 6 of his last 8 starts. Give me under 6.5 between the Wings and the Oilers. All right, Kevin, bring it home for us. What are we looking at next?
Joe, the final game, we go to the Valley, and not Cobra Kai the Valley, the Missouri Valley instead, as Missouri State takes on Bradley, and I'm going to back the Bears of Missouri State, take the points with them. And the Missouri Valley is a very interesting conference, Joe, because you have about 7 really good teams, 2 mediocre teams, and 5 crap teams. That you have a lot of, it's very top-heavy, to say the least. And Bradley is one of those teams. Missouri State's been good, actually, 10-6 in the conference. Bradley's 12-4. And the Big R, I had to use it one time today, Joe, the revenge spot. Bradley was getting 2.5 when they faced Missouri State earlier this season back in December, and Bradley cruised to a 58-40 victory. Now they're laying 9. All of a sudden, it's flipped totally. So, and Bradley's still a very good team. They've won 6 in a row, but this is a lot to lay. Missouri State 0-6-1 ATS the last 7 games. But to put that in perspective, in their last 4 wins during the stretch, they laid 8.5, didn't cover. Laid 9.5, didn't cover. Laid 13, didn't cover. They laid 2, and they pushed against Belmont in a win. They also beat Drake, one of the top teams in the conference, twice already this year. So sometimes the ATS numbers, we got to really look into them when you say, oh, you haven't covered a lot. Maybe because you're just not covering big numbers as a favorite, but here you're getting a big number as an underdog here. So I'm going to take Missouri State in this spot against Bradley to cover as a big dog in the Valley, Joe.
Missouri State, baby. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, guys, if you're on YouTube right now, just a quick reminder, hit that like button right down there. Hit that subscribe button right down there. We're inching closer and closer to 12,000 subs here on the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. And just a quick reminder, if you missed it off the top of the show, going on a hiatus here. Chasing That Paper will be away for about 2 weeks, but Kevin will have you covered with all of your NHL and college basketball betting needs. So make sure you check in with the Vegas Insider YouTube channel on the daily. So 6 picks from Kevin and I today. If you're looking to tail any of those picks, if you're looking to fade any of them, the choice quite simply is yours. You would have done pretty good if you faded me yesterday. But I recommend placing your action over at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Let me tell you a little bit about them. It's never been easier to bet with confidence. That's because the king of sportsbooks is giving you a can't-miss first bet offer with up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets. Sign up with BetMGM using the promo code VIBONUS to get a first bet offer up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets. If you don't win, that's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces, for a first bet offer of up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. Just use the code VI bonus. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older to wager. Offers for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. All right. So, of course, we had the Super Bowl Sunday, Kevin, and the NFL. You know, they don't waste time. We never have any days off with relevant news in the NFL. It's officially official. Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins. We have a bunch of new head coach hires there with the Colts and the Cardinals gutting the Eagles coaching staff, essentially. But it's officially official that Derek Carr has been released by the Raiders. He will be joining a new team here. And we put up a poll on the Vegas Insider Twitter feed this morning asking you guys what team you think Derek Carr will play for next season. Now, of course, he had a visit with the Saints. I don't know if that's indicative that he's going to join them, but 52.7, you know, yeah, he would be an upgrade over Andy Dalton and Jameis. Not a huge one, but he would be an upgrade. Then you have the Jets, the Panthers, and 13.9% of the people on the other in that situation. So there's actually odds up for what team Derek Carr will play for next season, if not the Raiders. It's obviously not going to be the Raiders. But the Carolina Panthers are the favorite. They're at plus 140, followed by the Saints plus 150. Then we have a little bit of a jump to plus 300 for the Jets, and then plus 900 for the Bucs. You also have teams like the Patriots and Commanders on the list. I think it's going to be the Jets. I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to play for the Jets. Why would he want to go to New York? People talk about Garrett Wilson. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is falling over himself over Garrett Wilson? He's a good player, absolutely, but people like that's some sort of a link in the Nathaniel Hackett. People are like, oh, Hackett got Rodgers too heavy. No, he didn't. Matt LaFleur had a lot more to do with that offense than Nathaniel Hackett did, for God's sake. So, yeah, I don't think that there's a whole lot of interest for Rodgers to join the Jets. But, yeah, they need some stability at that position. Absolutely, Derek Carr could provide that. You have the Commanders there at 16-1. That's a team on a quest for stability at the quarterback position. What do you think, Kevin? You think it's the Panthers, the odds-on favorite to get him? Speaking of a team that needs stability, what do you think?
You have three interesting situations here, Joe, and I agree. I don't think Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets. I think he stays put in Green Bay. And when you look at New York, first of all, there are weapons on that offense. Just about if Derek Carr wants to settle to play for a Jets team that will not win the division. And that's as simple as that. That no one's going to overtake the Bills. The Dolphins won't. The Patriots won't. No one's going to overtake Buffalo probably in the near future. That's the way it felt like with the Patriots for a long time when Tom Brady was there. But then you look at the NFC South now with Tom Brady retired, that it's more of a wide open division. That if you go to New Orleans, you have Chris Olave, who was Garrett Wilson's teammate at Ohio State. You have him there. You still have Alvin Kamara. Saints competitive team, you could definitely give them that. And, they went through Jameis Winston, who got hurt, and Andy Dalton, who's at the end of the line. So they need something there for the quarterback position. The Carolina Panthers are extremely interesting because now Frank Reich is there as the coach, and the Matt Rule thing just didn't work out. And, there's players on there, DJ Moore, McCaffrey gets traded to the Niners. Carolina went on a great run towards the end of last year. It looked like Carolina was going to win 3 games, and they actually had a shot to win the NFC South. So Carolina's interesting. I don't know what they're doing with Sam Darnold necessarily in that scenario, but I got to think Derek Carr lands on his feet in a decent situation for him. That you go to the NFC South, you have a better chance of winning immediately. Where you go to the Jets, you're not winning your division. If you're playing in New York, again, the guy needs a fresh start. I think that he's still a decent quarterback considering the other options in this league, that there's a lot of teams looking for anything. I mean, who's rather have now, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson? There are a lot of guys that are just shot. I don't think Derek Carr is shot just yet. I think he needs a new situation. And look, Carolina could work out for him with an offensive-minded coach in Frank Reich. New York could work out for him. There's some weapons there, and you get to play in New York. And then New Orleans, also the same thing. I think no matter where he lands, it'll be good for him and that team. I still think he's got something left in the tank.
Yeah, I agree. A change of scenery would be good for him. And the more I think about it, I said the Jets, but that NFC South would be shaping up to be one of the worst divisions of all time. So I could see maybe some attraction in joining the Saints, pretty good receiving group, and Alvin Kamara. So yeah, that could make sense. I don't know if there's a whole lot of attraction to Matt Rule, the Panthers. Who's going to offer the most money? I think that could be a big factor here as well. Now, the other big guy, of course, Aaron Rodgers. The sportsbook has, Aaron Rodgers' next team in week 1 of 2023, if not the Green Bay Packers, they have the Raiders at minus 300, and the Jets there at plus 200. Yeah, from Green Bay's perspective, I've talked about this a lot. I know Aaron Rodgers is going like a darkness retreat or something to try to figure this out. And I've kind of said it, they need to force his hand. We can't be here on the eve of the draft and they still don't have an answer from Aaron Rodgers. So they got to figure out what they're going to do. But I do think that the Raiders make all the sense in the world. And I do think moving on makes all the sense in the world too. The Raiders, of course, they got his buddy Devontae Adams. Pretty good offense there in general. A situation where, like New York, the media and all that stuff, and Aaron Rodgers not exactly a media-friendly guy unless he's going on with Pat McAfee. But, I think he's going to end up on the Raiders. But you think he's sticking around with the Packers for one more season, eh? Why do you think that?
Well, A, the contract. You're stuck with that. And B, you know what, this guy, he's just a weird guy. When it's at the end of the day, darkness, retreat, all these other things, I just don't know what it is with him. And he's a great quarterback, but the fact of the matter is he has not been to a Super Bowl since 2010. We're in 2023. It's been 13 years. He's not been to a Super Bowl in this time, and yet he's still propped up. I think that with the Raiders, if they could work it out some way, when you have Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs still a really good running back. You never know if he's going to stay or not. You have an offensive-minded coach in Josh McDaniels, so I'm sure he'd want to have Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. And again, you have that situation where you go into the AFC West. You have the Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl. You have the Chargers, who are a playoff team. Denver can only get better with Sean Payton now as the coach. That you say, is that the situation you want to be in necessarily because of that competition in the division, as opposed to other places? And I really don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to go to New Orleans or Carolina. I don't think that those are teams that, or I don't know if they want to deal with him either. But we talk about Derek Carr, Joe, change of scenery. Like, doesn't Aaron Rodgers want a change of scenery? It feels like he's so salty and so done with Green Bay with everything, but yet they bend over backwards for him just because they have no other option. They probably don't have the confidence of Jordan Love. But wouldn't he want to just go from Green Bay, go to Vegas? Get out of Green Bay for the rest of your career. Go to Vegas for a year or two. Look at Brady. I feel like Brady was rejuvenated going down to Tampa for the 2 years, 3 years actually he played. But I think you just need something different. This isn't the days of staying with the same team for your entire career. It's okay to move. And I think we saw with Peyton Manning, he won a title. We saw with Tom Brady, he won a title elsewhere. I mean, I'm not going to throw Matthew Stafford in that group, but Stafford got traded elsewhere, won a title. There's nothing wrong with that. I think Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere different. Maybe he doesn't have to sit in a dark room for a month to think about things. Maybe he's a little happier after that. Takes his happy pills.
Yeah, I mean, the writing's been on the wall for a while. How long has he been doing the whole Brett Favre song and dance? Will he or won't he? It's funny that the Packers are going through this again about, a decade and a half later or whatever it is. But the writing's been on the wall. He's been unhappy there for a number of reasons. Maybe a lot of it's just because he's weird. Maybe some of it's on the team as well. I think a lot of it is on the team, actually, trading up to draft Jordan Love. You think T. Higgins would have looked pretty good in a Green Bay Packers uniform with Aaron Rodgers thrown to him? I don't know, though. We talked about a change of scenery. I thought Aaron Rodgers looked pretty bad at some points this season. He was off on a lot of throws, and the broadcasters, everyone made excuses for him based on the wide receiver group he was working with. But, yeah, I think maybe he's still got something left in the tank, and love to see him down in Las Vegas because I'm planning on going to a Las Vegas Raiders home game in 2023. Okay, switching gears over to the NBA. Of course, the trade deadline is in our review mirror, and the last time we took a look at the NBA futures, looked a lot different than what we're seeing now. Let's bring them up here, Tito. Some major movement, most notably the Phoenix Suns now with the second best odds to win the NBA championship for a pretty obvious reason. Kevin Durant. Now, last time we looked at this, the Brooklyn Nets were in the, at least the top half of the board, sitting there at 100 to 1 right now. Not a lot of interest in that. Not a lot of interest in a team like the Pelicans. Can Zion get on the court? I don't mind the Lakers. They got a lot of depth there. LeBron's got to be playing more. Same with Anthony Davis, but I think they can make a push here post All-Star. Those two teams at 16 to 1, Kevin, the Warriors and the Grizzlies. I know Steph Curry's out. I know the Grizzlies, who I picked against today, on a bit of a skid right now. It's all about peaking at the right time, right? If those teams can get hot in the second half, approaching the playoffs. The Warriors at 16 to 1? I think that's a beautiful spot, like an ultimate buy low spot. I know they've been bad on the road, but they're eventually going to get Curry back. They were the favorite coming into the season. 76ers, I don't trust. Clippers, can you stay healthy? I don't know about that. I don't mind the Bucks at plus 550. The Celtics, I don't know. I generally don't find it's great value when you're betting on the favorite at this point of the season. I think you could wait to take the Celtics at the start of the playoffs and get a similar number just to ensure that everyone's healthy. But what stands out to you there? Anything at all?
I agree 100% on the Warriors. I was looking at that. I'm like, wow, 16 to 1 on them. Again, assuming Steph Curry's healthy for the stretch run. But this is where you and I differ on this one. I still think the Clippers 11 to 1 have some value. That you still have two superstars. Again, it's about health. We know with all these teams, it's about staying healthy. Yeah. But the Clippers, I think, are due for a run as long as Kawhi is healthy. And 11 to 1, I still think they're a quality team. And Dallas, I just don't know, because Dallas feels like they can get bounced early or make a great run. That the Mavericks got to the Western Conference Finals with just Luka last year. Now you add Kyrie into the mix. I know they've lost a couple games with the both of them together. They lost the game to the Kings in overtime and then to Minnesota the other night. Again, 2 regular season games, who cares? But you still have 2 stars. Luka needed that other guy next to him, and Kyrie's put up very good numbers since going to Dallas. they could be worth the look if they can somewhat get it together. They have a few months now before the playoffs. But some of those teams, Joe, that, they're I'm not buying into Phoenix just yet because we got to see what Kevin Durant, when he comes back, and yes, you plug in Durant to score 28 a game. Like, that's obvious. But how Durant fits in that offense with Devin Booker, with Chris Paul, I'm not ready to just say, all right, the Suns are going to the finals. I'm just not ready for that. But the other teams, Clippers, Warriors, Mavs, may have a little more value there. And I know the Warriors played the Mavs in the Western Conference Finals, so it kind of feels like recency bias. But those teams, why not? I think those are the ones maybe to focus on in the West.
Yeah, I find with the Phoenix Suns, you can be a bit of a prisoner of the moment. I know Kevin Durant, he's a member of the Suns now, still hasn't played for them, but you're generally not going to get a whole lot of value, I guess, after a big deal like that. Now, for the Dallas Mavericks, that's interesting. You know, they made it to the Western Conference Finals last year with Luka and Jalen Brunson, but I think Kyrie's going to be on his best behavior here. I don't think we're going to hear much from Kyrie except for when he's filling it up on the stat sheet because he wants to get that max deal here, and he'll get another team to bend over for him, probably the Lakers in the offseason. I don't know if Mark Cuban would pay him all that money, maybe, but then he'll burn that team at some point next season. So I think Kyrie's going to be on his best behavior and play some pretty good basketball next to Luka. It's wide open, though. That's, I bring this up from time to time. There was a stretch in the NBA where every year is Warriors, Cavs in the finals. You knew that going into the season. And that's exactly what you got. No parity whatsoever. You got a ton of parity this year. What do you think of the Nuggets, though, Kevin? They seem to be not necessarily disrespected on the odds board, but I don't think that's a team that's necessarily top of mind when people are making their selections at this point of the season. And I'll disrespect them too. I think they have the make of a great regular season team that comes up short in the playoffs. What do you think of that?
You have a guy, Nikola Jokic, who's an automatic triple-double, feels like every night. Jamal Murray, he had that bubble where he totally blew up in the ACL. I feel like it slowed him down a little, but he's still an excellent player. You have Aaron Gordon. There's a lot of really good players in that Denver team, but I just win me a big series. That's what it is. You haven't done that yet. And I understand the Western Conference is very competitive, and you're going to play good teams every round, but you have not gotten to that point yet where, they came back from 3-1 against the Clippers in the bubble. But past that, when's the last time Denver really made a great run in the playoffs? And that's where I'm just not sold on them just yet. And again, very talented team. They have a great home court advantage playing in Denver, but they always find ways to just stub their toe in the playoffs every year. And I'm just not ready to back them until I can see what they do. And yes, Golden State's gone far, so you can trust them. Dallas, at least last year, went far, so you have a little bit of trust in them. Memphis, another team that let's see how far they can go. I feel like Memphis's kryptonite is playing Golden State. Whenever they run to Golden State, it's always a problem. So the Western Conference, the one thing you can say, Joe, like you just mentioned with that Warriors-Cavs comparison, that at least you don't have a clear-cut favorite in the West, and you don't have a clear-cut favorite in the East. You can't say, well, Boston's going to go to the finals. No, it could be Milwaukee. It could be Philadelphia. There's a lot of choices there, which are good. It was Brooklyn. They were in the mix before they blew up the team. Like, they were playing well, and then Durant got hurt, and that kind of messed things up. But they were in the mix there. So you do have a lot. You do have a pretty unpredictable NBA Finals, which is a very good thing.
Yeah, it's funny with the Nuggets. They're sitting there with a 5-game lead in the Western Conference right now. The Grizzlies right behind them. The Sacramento Kings, talk about getting disrespected. No one's taking them very serious at all, are they? Third place there in the West. But someone could have some very bad luck here in the Western Conference if you're one of those top seeds, because there's a very real chance that the Golden State Warriors end up with the 8th seed in the conference. They're in 9th right now, so they'll probably have to participate in the play-in. But what kind of reward would that be for the Denver Nuggets? Say if they win this conference going away. They got a 5-game lead right now going into the All-Star break here in a couple days. Could you imagine they draw in the first round the Golden State Warriors? A completely healthy Golden State Warriors team? That'd be very bad luck for them.
Yeah, it would be definitely something. It would be good for the league if you had that. And it's also unfortunate, Joe, that the Lakers are so far back that, you would like to see it's always better when LeBron's in the playoffs. I don't want to see LeBron miss the playoffs, and it's just they've dug themselves such a big hole, the Lakers, that I don't know how they can come back, especially when he's sitting out. So whenever he comes back, it's just better. And it's not disrespect. So nobody wants to see Minnesota or Sacramento or these teams. Those are good young teams too, but fortunately we can't get 15 teams in the playoffs, So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who Denver draws in that first game if it's a pretty good team that just underachieved in the regular season.
Yeah, the Lakers right now, 2.5 games out of the play-in right now. So we got I don't know, how many games do we have left to go? In the high 20s or 30 games left to go, I suppose. I think the Pelicans are going to fall out of it. Just injury luck. When are they getting Zion back? Nobody knows. He's missed a ton of time already. The Utah Jazz, they didn't get the team at the trade deadline by any means, but they traded a good chunk of their depth there. I think they'll probably buy out Westbrook. They're in 10th right now. Who knows about the Timberwolves? But yeah, I could see the Lakers, they really got to put their foot on the gas. So a lot of missed games. So yeah, that new core, that new depth that they have. So yeah, it should be an interesting stretch run here as the NBA season continues. Okay, guys, let me tell you a little bit about the Vegas Insider app. It gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips, along with picks and expert breakdowns. You can shop for the best odds, find props, features, and plenty more with the app. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Yeah, baby. All right, let's get into some viewer picks here. We got a couple of submissions here as we go into our hiatus. Let's bring these up here, Tito. We'll start with Matty Poppy Sports, resident trend better. People love this guy, and he loves Bradley, minus 9.5 versus Missouri State. Bradley 13-1 straight up, 11-2 ATS at home, and is 4-0 ATS in their last 4 games. Missouri State is 0-6-1 ATS in their last 7 games. In the first game in January, Missouri State scored 40 points at home. Bradley won 5 in a row by an average of 15.5. Going against Kevin, and he says, hashtag enjoy the break. Thank you, Matty Puppy Sports. Give that guy a follow. Lots of great information there. Next up, our guy Schreckengast. He hit the over, I believe, last night with the Panthers and Blues. Nice game by St. Louis there. And he likes the New York Rangers first period team total over 1, minus 115 here. Death taxes and Canucks giving up first period goals. Vancouver opponents have scored in the first period in 17 straight and have scored 2+ in 10 of those 17. New York has scored in the first period in 24 of their last 23 and in 11 of their last 14 road games. New York Rangers first in 5-on-5 shot percentage in the last 10, while Vancouver dead last in save percentage. Good look by Nathan there. Good luck. Give Nathan a follow on Twitter. We have Sean Mitchelson. Sean, big baseball guy. I'm sure he's looking forward to a Major League Baseball season like the rest of us. He likes Rasmus Dahlin. Over 2.5 shots on net, minus 140 versus Anaheim. Under the radar look here. Ducks give up over 39 shots per game, and Dahlin has hit this in 6 of 7 and averages 3 shots on goals per game on the year. Good luck to Sean. Give him a follow. I think he's a Red Sox fan. Can't hold that against him. And we'll wrap things up with our guy, so savvy with it. Nets money line. Remember, always try to include the odds if you can, guys. But he likes the Nets money line with the Miami Heat in town. The Heat will be without Hero, Lowry, and Oladipo. I don't know how badly they'll miss Lowry and Oladipo. Oladipo is always out for them. Anyhow, Miami may still have the 2 best players on the court in Butler and Adebayo. But he feels that the Nets have the next best 8 and more depth with Curry coming back from a 5-game absence. Miami 13-16 straight up on the road, 1-5 ATS in their last 6. Yeah, Miami's a great fade. We fade them a lot around here, don't we? Okay, guys, it's now time for today's Handicapper Heat Check presented by VegasInsider.com. Your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. VI experts ASA are on fire with back-to-back 3-0 all-sports sweeps over the last 2 days. Kevin Thomas went 2-0 in college hoops last night and is on a 17-7 NBA run. AAA Sports continued their streak, going 2-0 last night and are 14-3 in the last 17 NBA picks and 13-2 in college hoops this month. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's top plays. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, betters. Yeah, baby. Woo! All right, Kevin, we are wrapping right up here. What do you have out there, if anything, that Chasing That Paper viewers can check out? And what do you have coming up that people can check out as well?
Well, Joe, we have 3 more college basketball best bets you could find on our YouTube channel, Vegas Insider TV. I gave you the 3 today on the show, but also you have 3 more there. So you'll have 6 in total if you just check it out on our YouTube channel, Vegas Insider TV. Also, we have college basketball best bets for Thursday as well. And then we're going to wrap up into the weekend with more college basketball. And then next week, more college basketball since the NBA is on their hiatus. They're in Salt Lake City for the All-Star break coming up this weekend. We'll have plenty of college basketball and some NHL best bets as well. You can find them on our YouTube channel at Vegas Insider TV. So it's what we got now, Joe, post-football.
Indeed, baby. Okay, yeah, NBA goes on a hiatus, and so do we. If you missed it off the top, we're going on a little break here. February 28th, Tuesday, we will be back. Shout out to producer Tito. He's going off to get married and going on a honeymoon and in Mexico. Thanks for the invite, by the way. Did you get invited to the wedding, Kevin? Or
I politely declined. I'm giving him a nice present, though.
Well, I didn't get the opportunity to decline, so I will not be giving a nice present, unfortunately. But in all seriousness, shout out to Tito. We appreciate his hard work up until this point. And yeah, we're going to be coming back better than ever, guys, on February 28th. But we are looking forward to a little break here, but make sure you keep it locked on the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. Lots of great information from Kevin and others coming up covering the NHL and college hoops. So that does it for the Wednesday edition of the show. We thank Kevin for joining us. We thank you for watching. Best of luck with your bets tonight, unless, of course, you're fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Woo!